So after we've done some basic things to secure our Ubuntu server, like making sure it's current with updates and looking at what our open ports are, what we're listening on, lowering our attack surface or shrinking our attack surface. One of the other things we'll want to do is do a firewall. Now, the common firewall, most common firewall on Linux systems is IP tables, which is a very, very powerful, flexible firewall. Ubuntu comes preloaded with what they call the uncomplicated firewall, which is basically an easier way of um, managing IP tables. So let's start by looking at our UFW uncomplicated firewall. So I'm going to do sudo, oops, I'm going to get in the right window here. Sudo, not apt, I don't have to install it, sorry. Sudo, I want to look at the status of my UFW, so UFW status. And that's going to tell me that that currently is inactive. Okay, that's kind of a default setting. I need to activate it in order to do something with it. So I want to look at some UFW options. So before I do this, I'm going to sudo UFW -UFW, not UFT, --help. I'm intent on typing a T today. Okay, and this is going to give me all of my commands: enable, disable, allow, deny, reject, limit, delete. Notice a couple of these, delete, insert, are based on rule numbers. Route, delete, route, insert, that's based on rule numbers as well. So that's going to become something that we'll pay attention to here in a few minutes. This gives you an idea of some of the things that we can do with UFW. So let's see what this is actually going to look like. I want to allow port 22 from anything to anything, so inbound and outbound. So I'm going to do sudo UFW. So uncomplicated firewall, I want to allow from any to any, and SSH runs on port 22. So I'm going to say allow from any to any on port 22. And that will update my rules. Let me do another one. Let's say I want to allow port 80 and port 443 inbound. So I could do sudo UFW allow 80. And then I'm going to add on another command here. I'm going to do the double ampersand sign, which is going to say, hey, do another one as well, which is going to be sudo UFW allow port 443. So that's going to be for my HTTP and HTTPS. I've also got a DNS server on this, and I want to allow that. So I'm going to do sudo UFW allow 53. And so that's going to add that into my rules. Now, at this point, I'm still not really doing anything, right? So if I do sudo UFW status, I've created some rules, but my status is still inactive. So I want to go ahead and enable it. So that's going to be sudo UFW enable. And that makes my firewall active, and notice it also enables it at system startup. Now, from this point on, anything that I add to this system that I want to allow other people to be able to connect, Samba, NFS, print serving, mail serving, anything I add that I want people to be able to connect to, I need to make sure that I allow that through the firewall. So that's just something for us to be aware of from this point on. So let me look at my status again. So I'm going to do sudo UFW status. And that's going to show me what's allowed. So to action, or to these port numbers, what action are we going to allow or deny? Where are we allowing this from? Okay. Remember we were talking about rule numbers, and we saw where we can delete or insert in front of a specific rule number. If I want to see what those rule numbers are, I do the same command, sudo UFW status space numbered, and this is going to give me my rule numbers. So now I can do things related to specific rules, and that's going to be important, by the way, because rules are processed in order, right? So I might need to control the order in order to allow and block the traffic that I want. So being able to remove a specific rule number or add something in front of a specific rule number, that kind of becomes important. All right, one other thing with firewalls, now that the firewall is enabled, remember that if traffic is not explicitly allowed through a firewall, it is implicitly denied. So if we don't allow it, it doesn't get through. So that's just another important thing to keep in mind, especially now as I come in and I add things to this later on, or even things that I have already installed that I did not allow through the firewall. If traffic is not explicitly allowed, it will be implicitly denied, and UFW, the uncomplicated firewall, will block it if I don't explicitly allow it.